Here's Heather and I. We're outside of Trump Tower in 2015. We were there on a supernatural divine assignment to go and pray and intercede, and we were just here. And the Spirit of the Lord is speaking to me at this time. And let me show you what we were looking at, what we were looking out at. Here it is. This is the window I was looking out of, and I'm looking down this avenue of the canal, and there's a river, and all these things are there. And this is, of course, I joke about it, this is where Transformers 3 was filmed and many other films and whatnot. But I'm looking out this avenue, and I began to have the Spirit of the Lord speak to me. Now, this is in 2015 that we took this photo. And as I'm looking out there, I turned around. And when I turned away from this is out the window of Trump Tower, I turned around to look back into the room, and Heather was there. And that's when the Spirit of the Lord began to speak to me. And I said, Lord, have you showed me who's going to win this cycle? This cycle where we pick our leaders back in 2015 going into 16, who was going to win? And as that happened, the Spirit of the Lord said, I've not graced you to know that. And interestingly enough, he brought my attention to Lance Wallnau. I thought, well, that's amazing. Back then, I barely knew who he was. And during this time, Lance was beginning to step out more and more in the space. And when I saw the photos of Flashpoint from this same similar vantage point, I began to hear the Spirit of the Lord speak to me and say, it's a do-over year. And in this moment, what happened, as I was standing here, my back now turned to that window, is when the Lord began to say to me, no, America's not going down. Because I said, is America over? Are we done? And the Spirit of the Lord spoke to me at this point, in this location, standing with this window behind me. And he said to me very clearly, no, America has one more round because the young lions are coming. And I began to have encouragement come into my heart. And I believe that this word that God spoke to me then is another do-over word for right now, because I saw my friends there. I saw what was happening there. And I realized this is a do-over moment, that America has one more round. We're going to begin to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, regardless of the outcome this fall. And I believe it's going to take a miracle to have the righteous prevail in the fall. And I believe God is a God of miracles. But I have this sense and this strength inside me that I believe the Lord is saying we're going to begin to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Now, I got to say something to you. God loves, he loves being outnumbered, outgunned, pushed in a corner where there's insurmountable odds against him and the righteous. And things just don't begin to go the way that many people think they will. And then in that moment, God begins to show himself strong. He begins to show himself strong. And this is something that I feel so strongly in my spirit. So looking right at you, I just got to tell you, God loves it. He loves it when his people are in such a difficult spot and the challenges are so insurmountable that we have no choice but to say, I guess it's come to this. Hear me right now. I guess it's come to this, ladies and gentlemen. I guess we're just going to have to believe God. Has it come to this? Is this where we are? That we're just going to have to believe God? Well, Ryan, I have my dear friend with me on set today, Ryan Edberg. Ryan, has it come to this? We're just going to have to believe God?
I think it's about time we did start to believe God. Comes every time in life where we just got to believe God, and I think that's now.
I do too.
That's good. I think that 2020 actually showed Christians what they actually believed. And it was a good season. It was a tough season for a lot of people. But I do think that 2020 showed people where they actually had faith and where they actually had fear. And that wasn't a condemnation thing, but where they needed to really press in. And I think we're in that season again where we can either be in fear or faith. And we can step forward and lean in with God. We can pray in the Spirit. We can believe and we can push back the darkness. Or we can say the sky is falling.
That's right, like Chicken Little. The sky's falling. A lot of ministries are Chicken Little ministries. The sky's falling. I got to tell you, though, you and I, we've been in ministry, gosh, together. We're going on like 25 years, somewhere in there. We're going. Maybe it's just over 20, 22, I don't know. But what I do know is we've been ministering together a long, long time. And the Spirit of the Lord has shown us how to overcome in circumstances. We've had battles. We've seen things take place. We've watched this nation go up, this nation go down. And we've had a lot of conversations at conferences and things we've done over the years. I've never seen anything like what we're facing right now. But at the same time, what you just said about 2020 and the way the church was challenged, I believe it's a benchmark for saying, okay, we overcame that. We came through that time. And there's a do-over spirit taking place here. So now we have to overcome. And one of the ways we're doing it, and this is why I'm so glad you're here. You know, we do these broadcasts, and whenever you're near me and we can do stuff, I like having you with me. Because you're part of the team. You are leading a lot of our marketing. You're opening doors through media platforms. You've been negotiating for me. I'm so grateful for you. You've been working stuff out. And also you're an on-staff pastor, and I'm grateful for you. So what we want to do is begin to build things that can encourage people in the middle of this turmoil. And what I mean by that is Red Church. You know, when we're doing Red Church and we're beginning to develop into that, I believe we can have a counter through media that will bring people hope and clarity. And so, you know, I just want to thank you for being one of the pastors here. And you have actually quite a voice in this Red Church scenario we're building, and maybe even more that I won't get way into right now. But what do you think about all that?
Well, I'm grateful for Z Ministries and the opportunity to be here. And what I'm excited about the most, we've got some huge things coming up and some opportunities. We're going to be headed to TV very shortly.
It's wild.
And it's doors are opening. God's opening up the doors. And it's because of partners and them standing with us that we're even able to say yes to some of this stuff. But what I love about this is the grassroots and the Facebook and us here on social media.
Come on, Ryan.
And why, right now, while it's still free platforms, and, you know, it's great to have the Christian TV programs. We love them. They're incredible. But right here is where we can reach the lost too.
That's right.
And you people sharing with your friends and tagging people in it, sending links saying, watch this video clip. We can go places that nobody else can, and we can reach that million for a billion.
That's right.
Because of social media now.
It's true.
And while it's free is when we need to push harder and we need to go faster, because there might be a day when this isn't free, where we are shut down. And so taking ground now with our partners is just significant, and I'm excited and thrilled about it.
Well, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate you saying that, because, you know, our partners are a big, big deal to us. And we bring it up, and people who understand it realize we are really doing this to reach people. Like, we really are. That's why we built the app. Because if the whole world shakes and it's all difficult, we have an app at Joseph Z, whatever app store you want to go to, your favorite one, download it, because we're going to continue. A lot of people have been asking, Ryan, because you and I you were one of the main guests, and we would do not no limits, but full disclosure. We would do full disclosure a lot, where we just talk about everything. But we found that we have to really keep that confined to our app and keep that platform able to produce that, because we can't say some of the things on these platforms. We really can't. And so partners are allowing us to not only reach out with a wide net, but they're allowing us to build and develop things where people can come and hear freedom of speech still hear the free voice of God. And we're going to expand on networks and platforms that are free. But one of them is TV. You know, it's interesting. You've been a really great help in this space, and that's developing our TV program. And I haven't really told everybody this, but I'll do it right now. We are launching a TV program called Voice of God. Voice of God. We're starting with Daystar, and we have other networks that are we're having conversations with them. That's a good way to put it. And we're really building towards this coming year where we're going to go to a massive reach through television. And look, it's not like we're not busy and we don't have things to do, but I do believe we can make an impact. And so when we're going down this road, I'm looking at, Ryan, these things that are happening, such as these do-over words I have. And you and I have been together a long time. And this do-over word is this thing that's really getting my attention, that it could be, if we see victory the way I've seen it, if we can attain that, we're going to have another run for this generation of unfettered reach for the gospel. And I'm gearing up for that. I'm preparing for it. Now, if we don't see the goodness of God in the setting, he's good all the time. But even if we don't see the outcome we all want to see this coming season, I'll tell you what we are going to do. We're going to keep preaching the gospel anyway. And we're going to shake and bake. We're going to go after it, right? But that's something that I'm sensing that we need to really rise up and go towards, because this do-over that I sense coming, we're preparing through media. with what's coming next. Either way, no matter who wins in this cycle where we pick our leaders or what takes place next, I believe this do-over word is the valley of decision.
Yep. I love that. And then I love what we were talking about too, of you had it on a couple of your broadcasts here the other day about as Christians too, God is on the throne. Yes, we've got to do over no matter who gets in. We're going to move forward.
Amen.
But still not sitting back and being complacent and just letting the darkness roll over you. Because literally, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of Christians out there that are uneducated that need to literally step in and see what the Holy Spirit is saying. Because I hear people say stuff like, Jesus in 2024, that's great, but I'm not voting for Jesus. That's a step down for him.
Right.
That is a huge step down and an insult to say Jesus for president when he's the Lord of our lives and the King of Kings. And literally, we need to put somebody in here. And no matter what, we're going to preach the gospel, no matter what, we're going to do it. But I would rather preach it from a place of freedom than have a prison ministry.
Amen. Yeah, that's right. We don't need a digital prison. We don't need a jail cell.
Or a physical prison.
Or physical. Because I'll tell you what, there's a supernatural. I'm going to go to the whiteboard.
Do it.
I'm going to go to the whiteboard. Let me go over there right now. Here I am at the whiteboard, and I just want to say to everybody, I'm here with Ryan. Allie, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
You're doing good. You're here?
Yeah.
I love it. Well, we're going to
Pretty
get
good.
into some stuff that I am sensing right now. I'm going to draw some things on the board that I think are going to be very important. And Allie, you were bringing up something that you saw about artificial intelligence. Yes. Now, we could get into that in just a moment, but hold on to that because I want to go down this avenue. But what I see, Ryan, having you here, I see this scenario that I've drawn many times. I see this. I've seen this over and over again. And I believe this represents where we are. I saw us going down 30, 60, 100-fold. I saw the time of darkness, right? Then I saw us coming back at 30, 60, 100-fold. What am I talking about? I believe this is the USA. I believe we're going to come back in a new element where this is probably around 4 years from now. I believe we're going to have a year of major fire. What I've seen for this year is nothing but fire. I've said this for about 3.5 years, that this year would be fire. But I saw this word, the new America, okay? Now, I'm drawing all this out to say I've seen a storm. You've seen me draw this so many times. But here's what I've really seen as we're praying. I believe right now, we are now entering the valley of decision. And a lot of this is in the hands of the righteous or the church. It's a very big deal. And you say, why? Why is this the valley of decision? Why is it in the hands of the church? Because I believe God, in his grace and his mercy, is giving us a massive do-over. A massive do-over. And you say, a do-over? I keep hearing you talk about this. I believe this is a do-over from many years that had points of contact that made sense for the future of this generation. I think there's a lot of do-overs taking place. I see around this do-over year, I believe that we're going to see unprecedented I believe we're going to see this for very significant characters. Former leaders like. I think this is going to be a very significant moment when that happens, when Jimmy Carter transfers and he leaves this world. But the do-over and all these signs around it, I believe, represent everything from and other years, 2016, 2020, this do-over, I believe right now, is putting us in the valley of decision. And the Lord is saying, will you falter between two opinions? How long will you falter between two opinions? Either you're going to be with those who fear the Lord or you're not. And I don't understand some of these idiotic opinions where people start saying things like, well, we ought not to get too involved in the kingdom of this world and all this stuff. But if you have the authority to, and you're given the ability to, you should. You really must. I think of Romans 13, Ryan. People always quote Romans 13. You obey the laws of the land. You do what you're supposed to do. Every authority is there by God appointment, and there's no authority that God has not put in that land by appointment. And it says, because they are his ministers of good. They do ministry unto good. They minister good to the people. So, if you're doing wrong, fear them, the Bible says. If you're doing right, you're in a good place. But what happens when they pervert the office? And then suddenly those that are in this place to do good, suddenly doing evil against righteousness, against ungodliness. Well, that, according to Romans 13, means if we're going to uphold the laws of the land and the governing authorities, we drop to the Constitution. And that means we need to enforce that. And that's what I don't get with a lot of churches and Christians and people. They start thinking no, I don't want to get involved with that. I don't want to get involved with that. And what they're doing is they're forsaking their own mercy in something that people have fought, lost their life over, and suddenly we're in this position and people don't want to stand up against the tyranny that's trying to rise.
Think about this for a moment too. A lot of people will say we shouldn't be involved, separation of church and state, all this kind of stuff. But go back to the Israelites. Go back to when God said, I will be your God, you be my people. Yeah. I want you to be free. And they said, no, we want a king. We want somebody over us. We want to be under somebody just like everybody else. And God said, no, I'll be your God. And they fought him. And we know what happened with the law. We know what happened with under a king and stuff like that. Literally, when you say that we need to respect and be under authority, I agree with that. But if you look at the Constitution, it's we the people, and we hire people to be put in a certain spot, and they work for us. And what happens if you had a CEO of a major company and you had a janitor come in and say, I need you to clean these floors. I want you to do this. I'm paying you to do this. And eventually the janitor gets so high power, he's like, no, you're going to listen to me now. This is what happened with government and politics. You were hired for a job, and now we want somebody over us again. We want somebody as like a king. We've gone right back under it to say, no, we're not a free country anymore. They're in charge. We got to be respectful of and it's we the people.
It's we the people. And there's other nations that they have a different hierarchy. They have a different governing system. And you know what? Romans 13 applies to them. And I bless them. We have a lot of people that are watching from around the world. And look, we are pro every nation. We love your country. We love it. But right now, we're only bringing this out passionately because this is where we live. and we have a responsibility to our community as well. But we are for you. So when we talk about the United States, we are in no way trying to say anything negative about your nation. Please hear us when we say that. We love this country and we love your country. But that being said, we have to really recognize this, that there's other nations too that then they try to push their ideology by using the scriptural lens at us by saying, you really got to quit having this idolatry over your land and all this stuff, and you're just trying to go down the road and you're trying to mix up, the scripture with what's going on. Well, I'm telling you what the scripture says, and we need to stand up for it. Now, I think there's extremes to every message, and we need to watch out for extremes, but at the fundamental understanding is that we need to rise up and stand against this tyranny that's coming. Otherwise, I just don't like it when idiots say stupid stuff. I just don't like it. I'm thinking of that. And there's people that try to push their ideology, and they're about ready to have a leash put on them in different nations that they're in. And this nation right here is one of the few that's standing between complete global takeover and complete tyranny, as opposed to other nations that are already there. But the only thing standing between a complete takeover of the world is this nation. And they're trying to tell the church, just lay back, get back to the gospel. That's what it's about. Yes and amen. It's all about the gospel. But it's kind of like saying, we have a really nice car and we have to get to a destination. It's all about the destination. But do you want to walk or do you want to drive? And somebody's trying to steal your car. So do you want to walk or do you want to drive? And the answer is, I'd rather drive. Now, if the car goes away, we're going to walk. But I got to just say, it's important that we stand up for these things. And that's what you're saying, Ryan.
Absolutely. And you have people that are talking about, it's definitely about the gospel. It's definitely about the gospel. And it is 100%. And that's why we have to be a free country, is because it's about the gospel. And people talk about, well, it doesn't matter this, that, or another thing. But you see what happened in the last 4 years of just censorship. You've seen We're going to go into politics and stuff in a moment, but literally you've seen where it's headed. And now we've got drag queens teaching little children in front of it. And it's happened so fast. And we can't sit back as a church and say we don't be involved while they're trying to take your children.
Yeah, I was with a group of pastors some time back. And they're all just like, well, no, you got to just, be all whatever and not get all wound up about this stuff. And look, we love people. We love you. Anybody who's watching, we love every person, no matter what lifestyle they're in or whatever. We love the people. But that agenda, I kind of love my kids more, and I love the little kids more than the stuff that they're trying to do to steal their future and take away their ideology or a biblical foundation. And quite frankly, it just nauseates me. It nauseates me that they're trying to steal the future of our kids, their morals, their ideology, men and women doing what they're supposed to do, and they're destroying the fabric of it. And it's right out of the communist playbook. It's right out of a Marxist, wicked, scumbag, demonic ideology that says we absolutely will do this. And the problem is the children of the world are more savvy than the church, because the church is like, well, we're just supposed to walk the extra mile. Yes, when they persecute you for the gospel. Now, if somebody's persecuting you directly for the gospel, you turn the other cheek. If somebody's persecuting the country you live in, you stand on the laws of the land. Then that's how this stuff operates. Now, if somebody's coming at me for Jesus, they spit in your face for Jesus, they do it. Our job is to turn the other cheek, love them, and keep preaching the gospel. But when it comes to the rule of law, or if somebody's trying to destroy your family or your children, I'll tell you what, you ought to stand up for that. There's so much we could get into with it. And I'm just saying, you need to stand up spiritually and just show up and be counted. And this is important. I believe this. I'm going to shift into a bit of a prophetic space here. I believe they're going to do something, and they, when I refer to they, I'm talking about all those people that they're in charge and they got their hands and reins on the controls right now. Whoever's kind of running government, running the show, running the media, I believe they're going to coalesce, come together, whoever wins next, and I think we're going to see an unprecedented thing happen after this cycle, okay? So let's say this goes beyond this year and we get into 2025, okay? And we start to see, the years go on, right? We start to see this year's happen. And I got a big word about 28, man. I think 28 is going to be a game changer year. I think we're going to see so many things happen next year. But looking at this, my sense is that they're going to begin to induce all kinds of stuff we haven't been hearing about much. I think we're going to see weather that has never been seen before. I think we're going to get into that solar flare narrative. I think AI, which we're going to talk about in just a moment, because, man, some new advancements have come out with this. They actually had a moment where AI became self-aware just last week. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. And yet, they just keep pushing this agenda. It's crazy. So you see that happening. The other thing I think that's going to happen is paranormal activity. Paranormal is going to become normal. They're going to normalize the paranormal. You're going to start to see more UFO scenarios, okay? You're going to begin to see everything from creatures. It's going to get more and more mainstream. You're going to see these kind of things. And listen, there's no such thing as aliens. Let me just say that right away. But when you talk about this, they are seeing something. Things are happening in the sky. And I believe that they're going to begin to create a vortex of deception to usher in a narrative that takes our attention off fighting for what we should be fighting for, usher in this attention. And whether we win or lose this season, this is going to become a massive issue over the next 4 years. I think in a way we've never seen before. And why am I saying that? Because they're really, you know what this is really trying to do? They're trying to usher in the man of sin. And all of these are mechanisms to do that. And what's the man of sin? Well, he's the Antichrist. Now, do I believe that he can stand up with the church in place here? No, I don't. I don't. But I believe all this, and especially when you get into the topic of currency, okay, you're looking at currency. I believe that AI has a big part to play in this, and we're going to look at that in just a moment, currency and controlling currency. And they're trying to make everything so nebulous and almost, you can't even pin it down. They're trying to make things so it's abstract and you don't know what is absolute anymore. And believe it or not, they're going to head that way with currency. They're going to make it so nothing is absolute about it anymore. They're going to make it like organic and weird and strange. And I don't even know how to explain it, but that is where they're heading because that's the spirit of the age. I want to tell you about an amazing opportunity that has just been presented to us. We've had a supernatural door of opportunity open for us. Only God could do what is happening for this ministry right now. And it is involving television, network television, satellite television, going all over the world. Now, there's a lot in store for this, but let me explain. This is a word God's given us to reach 1 billion people for the gospel. And I feel an urgency for this coming year to advance and go forward because of the uniqueness of what God has spoken in this ministry and through this ministry in media. And here's what we have to do. To accomplish this, we not only have to buy the airtime, but we have to build out a call center and finish this building. And we are in the middle of it right now, but the timeline has just been sped up to fall time so we can be ready for the first of the year when we're going to begin to launch out in television in a monumental way. Now, we've had an opportunity that is both fiscally responsible and financially amazing, the way God has done this for us. And we have to take opportunity right now with it because it won't last long. So here's what I'm asking you. Would you consider supporting us, helping us build out the call center, helping us finish off this building, and helping us with the budget of airtime? And it is going to be a monumental thing, and the Lord has given us favor, and I can't wait to tell you more and more about it. But if you would consider partnering today over this, I know we can hit this target, I know we can walk through the door, and I know we can raise up 1 million to go win 1 billion. And I'm telling you, this is a God moment. It's a now word. And I'm asking you if you'd consider partnering with us over it. Maybe you want to become a partner, or if you are a partner, maybe you'd consider increasing your partnership today or giving a one-time offering. This is an amazing open door for this ministry and this broadcast. Everything we've prayed about, everything the Lord has told us to do is now coming to this monumental moment. Next year, we're going to reach the masses like never before, but we need your help. Please consider going to josephz.com right now and supporting this amazing open door. Thank you so very much.